I still remember the way he said it like spitting glass across the room. "This isn't a daycare, Mariah. You pull this again, and you're done." His finger was aimed at my little boy Caleb, who was sitting on the kitchen floor, tapping two plastic cups together. Caleb was only too young to know that this man in the silk shirt and polished shoes saw him as a threat. I wanted to snap back to shout that he had no idea who I was or what I carried inside me, but I swallowed it down like I'd been forced to do 100 times before. In houses like these, anger from a black single mom wasn't just anger, it was a liability. I forced a calm voice. "Mr. Bennett, it was an emergency. My sitter was in the hospital. I had no one else." He smirked, adjusting those perfect gold cufflinks. "Then find someone. Because if I see that kid here again, you're gone. There are plenty of women waiting for this job. Women who know their place." That last line burned. Women who know their place. He strutted back into his marble office, satisfied like he'd just handled a disciplinary case. Meanwhile, Caleb looked up at me and giggled, not knowing his entire future had just been threatened over a couple of toys on the floor. I knelt down and kissed his head. "Mommy's gonna fix this, sweetheart. I promise." What Oliver Bennett didn't know was that I wasn't just some maid cleaning toilets. I had a business degree. I'd worked 5 years at a financial firm before I got pregnant, and my ex disappeared. And for 6 months, while I scrubbed his mansion floors and polished his ridiculous crystal chandeliers, I'd been recording every slur, every insult, every shady business call that floated out of his mouth. It started small, him snapping about a stain on a chair, or making jokes at dinner parties about certain people not being reliable help. I'd clench my fists behind my back and remind myself of my grandmother's words. "They can break your pride for a moment, but they can't break your mind if you don't let them." So I kept cleaning, but I listened, and I documented. Then one afternoon, he was entertaining a foreign investor at lunch. I set the plates down quiet as usual when he said, clear as day, "You know how it is. Government makes us hire from certain communities. Standards drop. But she's trained well, knows her place." I stood there with the tray in my hand, heat crawling up my neck. Knows her place. He assumed I didn't even understand English. That was the night I pulled out my old laptop after Caleb went to sleep. I dug through public records, cross-checked contracts, zoning approvals, political donations. Within hours, I saw the patterned housing projects paid for, but never finished millions disappearing into shell accounts. Oliver wasn't just a bigot with money. He was a thief stealing from the very communities he mocked. For weeks, I played a double life. By day, I was the quiet housekeeper with polite nods and yes, sir. By night, I was the investigator piecing together spreadsheets and recordings. Every insult became fuel. Every racist joke was another nail in his coffin. The breaking point came when his sister came over. She sipped her champagne and said, "Oliver, why keep her? These people bring their kids, then their cousins, then half the neighborhood shows up." They laughed like it was the funniest thing. I smiled faintly, but inside I made a decision. No matter how much I worked, I'd always be disposable to them, unless I changed the game. So I called a friend, my old supervisor from the firm, David. I sent him the recordings, the spreadsheets, the contracts. His response was immediate. "Mariah, do you know what you're sitting on? This is fraud on a federal scale. You've got enough to bury him." That weekend I made another call, this one to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I set the stage. Oliver was planning a big pitch to federal investors Monday morning. I suggested they let the show go on. Only this time the audience would include a few faces he didn't expect. Monday came. Oliver was buzzing, pacing around in his designer suit. Meeting starts at 10 Mariah. Coffee ready at 9:45. And behave. These are important men. He said behave like I was a child. I bit back a laugh. Of course, Mr. Bennett. I know exactly how to behave. At 10 sharp, the investors arrived 2 suits from federal housing agencies, and one tall man Oliver didn't recognize. He introduced himself as Mr. Washington, a consultant. Oliver puffed up, eager to impress. He clicked through slides about his successful projects, bragging about on-time delivery and efficiency. That's when Mr. Washington leaned in. Mr. Bennett, your records show $5 million allocated for 200 units in the Eastbrook project, but only 80 were built. Can you explain? Oliver's smile wavered. Technical adjustments. Quality over quantity, you understand. The room went quiet, and then I stepped forward, setting a thick folder on the table. Here are the additional documents you requested, sir. Oliver's head snapped toward me. What documents? I didn't. The tall man opened the folder. Internal emails, spreadsheets of diverted funds, photos of his lavish vacations paid for with public money. Oliver's face strained. What? How did you... The man closed the file. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Federal Prosecutor Marcus Washington. And this is Senior Financial Analyst Mariah Ellis, our lead consultant on this case. Oliver blinked at me like I'd transformed into another person. Senior Analyst. I untied my apron and slipped off the uniform jacket, revealing a sharp blazer underneath. Or you can just call me Mariah. We've known each other for 3 years after all, he sputtered. Wait, Mariah, we can work this out. I've always respected you. I laughed full and free, the kind of laugh I hadn't felt in years. Respected me. Marcus, play the clip. From a little recorder, Oliver's voice filled the room. These people don't understand real opportunities. They're ungrateful. They need to be kept in their place. The investors stared at him, disgusted. Marcus slid a pair of handcuffs onto the table. Oliver Bennett, you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and civil rights violations. Oliver thrashed. You can't do this. My family's been in this city for generations. I leaned in close. That's exactly why I kept every receipt, every word. Because men like you think you're untouchable. He tried one last card. You have a son. Think of him. No one will hire you again after this. I smiled. Oliver, I don't need your world anymore. My real career starts today. He was led out in cuffs, still shouting about conspiracies. I watched him disappear down the driveway, and I felt years of humiliation lift off my chest. 3 months later, the headline read, Former maid-appointed federal director recovers $50 million in stolen housing funds. Families were finally getting the homes they'd been promised. At the ribbon cutting of the first new complex, Caleb tugged my hand. Mommy, are you a hero? I knelt beside him. No, baby. Mommy just did what was right. An older woman hugged me, tears in her eyes. You gave us our homes back. You gave us dignity. And I thought maybe justice isn't about loud victories. Maybe it's about patience, about letting them underestimate you until the day you flip the table and show them who you really are. So tell me, what do you think? Was I right to play the long game, to wear their insults like armor until the moment I could bring the whole house down? Or should I have walked away sooner, spared myself the pain? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to hear your stories. Have you ever been underestimated, pushed into a corner, and had to fight your way out? And if you believe in justice, in dignity, in proving them wrong, hit that subscribe button. Because stories like this aren't just mine, they belong to all of us.